Hey guys, welcome to another Kickster review. So today I'm going to be reviewing episode 3 of AHSOKA, and I'm just going to jump right into it and give you my full thoughts here today. So straight up, I did not like this episode at all. That's been the theme so far of the show. I just have not enjoyed it whatsoever. If it's my criticism this time are kind of the opposite of my criticisms of the first two episodes, which I thought were boring and bland. This one, still bland, but there was action in it, but the action was terrible. I'm going to talk about that today, but yeah, so my overall thoughts of this episode is that it's just poorly done, lacks the emotion as ever, and yeah, it's trying to look like Star Wars without having any substance. So the basic premise of the episode is that at the beginning, Sabine and Ahsoka are training on the ship. Ahsoka's trying to train her to use her senses to become a Jedi, which she's not currently. And from there, it then basically ends up as they go into hyperspace as they're traveling to the place where they think Thrawn is, and they're trying to find him. And the second they come out of hyperspace, they're chased by some of the bad guys. There's a whole space battle shootout there, and then leads to Ahsoka coming out of space into outer space and using her lightsabers and trying to take down ships from there. And they eventually land on a forest planet, not before flying through some Purgles, those sea whales, those space whales, I should say, that are from Rebels. And they land on a forest planet, and that's about it. It's a 30-minute episode, and nothing much happens in it. And yeah, 30 minutes, nothing much will happen. And this one, certainly nothing much did happen. Before I dig into what I hated about this episode, I'll give small credits to the things that I thought were fine or okay. And that was, the training scene between Ahsoka and Sabine. It is a complete carbon copy of the scene between Obi-Wan and Luke on the Millennium Falcon. She gets Sabine to wear a helmet where she can't see and has to rely on her other senses. It's straight carbon copy. It's fine. It's finely executed. It's not terrible or anything like that. It's competent. The other thing was that I thought there was a bit more emotion in this episode. There was nothing whatsoever in the first one, and first two, I should say. And, there's not a whole lot in this one either, but there's a little bit more. So that's something. But yeah, those are my only two real things that I have anything to compliment about this episode. Now for the dislikes. So where do I begin? Well, let's start at the beginning. So in this training scene, like I said, it's a carbon copy of A New Hope, the scene from New Hope. And there's so many scenes in this episode that are just carbon copies of what came before. This training scene with the where her vision is obscured, that's straight out of A New Hope. Then later on you have the space battle when they're flying through, and Sabine uses the laser guns to take down the fighters around her, straight out of A New Hope again. It's like reminiscent of the scene with Han and Luke when they're shooting them down. Shooting down the TIE fighters. So it's just, there's so many things in this episode where they're just trying to be like, look, see, Star Wars. This is Star Wars. You like Star Wars. And there's just no substance to it whatsoever. And one thing that's been common with a lot of Star Wars shows on Disney Plus is that they're full of contrivances. Just things just happen conveniently, just to say, for the sake of like progressing whatever story they're trying to tell. And so, for example, like the scene where they go into hyperspace, this is a long portion of this episode that they're actually in hyperspace. And the second that they jump out of it, when they decide to jump out of it at a random moment, it's not fully planned. They enter a certain territory of the universe, and Ahsoka says, okay, let's jump out of hyperspace. The second they jump out, they are straight away attacked by bad guys. And it's like, how the hell did the bad guys know? When you think about how fast you travel at hyperspace, you're traveling at the speed of light, and these bad guys were already in that exact part of the universe where they needed to be to straight up start chasing them. Like, I get it, they're traveling to a dangerous spot, but how convenient that they were right there as soon as they jumped out of it. So it's like so poor and so contrived, it's ridiculous. And then the scene when Ahsoka gets out of the ship, when the ship's kind of stuck in space and she's fending off the fighters while they try and fix the ship, like, it's so stupid because the ship is floating right there. It's just shoot it down and it'll explode. And instead they start aiming at her, and so she's deflecting them with their lightsabers, blah blah blah, and it's just and she eventually takes out one or two of them, and it's like, okay, they're trying to make a cool action scene out of it, but it's just so dumb, so contrived, and so lame. And it's again, maybe these things would be cooler if these characters actually had personality, but they don't. Ahsoka has no personality. In the Clone Wars she does, but in this show she's just bland, dry, and the amount of times you just have to see Rosario Dawson just slowly fold her arms when talking to Sabine is just so lame, so boring. It's like, oh my god, they're trying so hard to make her like the Clone Wars character, but also just this really boring, stoic version of it. So it's just the worst of both worlds, and yeah, this show is a mess. And another massive gripe that I have is the precedent that they are setting by trying to turn Sabine into a Jedi. Like, granted, I know nothing about her character. I haven't watched Rebels, so I know nothing about her. But from what I understand, she is not a Jedi. She does not inherently have the powers of a Jedi, but she is now training to be one. And this has been a common issue with all these recent Star Wars shows by Disney, is that they've redefined the whole concept of what it means to be a Jedi. It used to be something that you were either born with or you weren't. You had this inherent power in you that you then had to learn to engage with. But you either had it or you didn't. You weren't just someone who could just toe the line of force sensitivity. No, you were one or the other. But now they've opened up a bit. Ahsoka literally says in an episode that everyone has the force within them. It's just a matter of them tapping into it. And that it ruins everything that you think about Star Wars. Well, it doesn't matter anymore about who's the most powerful Jedi. Not everyone can be a powerful Jedi. And it just really plays into this modern ideologies that we have in society, particularly as it comes to kids, where we hand out participation medals for nothing. Now you come in last place, you get a participation medal, and this is the same kind of thought process that goes into it. They want to be able to say that, oh, it's okay, everyone can be a Jedi, yay, we can all be Jedis together, and it just completely removes it. If everyone, there's an old saying, is like, if everyone's special, then no one's special. So it's like, that's where we're at. If everyone is potentially a Jedi, then no one is really a special Jedi. So it's such a shame. But like, I don't even take this, I don't consider all this canon. I think this is all a joke. This Disney Star Wars stuff, it's been a joke for a long time now. So what I'm watching, to me, is like parody or bad fan fiction. I don't want to call it fan fiction because I feel like fans could do a way better job than this. But I'm just watching it to give you my thoughts. And yeah, this show is bad. It's everything wrong with modern Star Wars. And yeah, I don't see where I can see where they're heading with this show. There's going to be obviously a conflict with Thrawn at the end, and you're going to get scenes with Anakin, and Ezra comes back and all these things. But it's just, this should be the part of the show where we learn to love the characters, we learn to get into the story and be absorbed by it all, so that when the real action comes, we are fully invested. But right now, there is no investment, and so when we get to this final conflict, I'm not going to care about anything. So yeah, it's bad all around. So yeah, I mean, last week I was thinking maybe if they have some action in the show, maybe things will pick up a bit, but no, they introduced action this episode and did nothing for me. So I'm in the same exact place as I was last week. No better, no worse. It's just the same level of bad. And so yeah, this show is a mess, and not excited to see what happens, but I will keep reviewing it for you. So yeah, hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this and my review in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. Post your comments in the comment section below about what you think of the show and what you think of Star Wars in general. I'd love to hear all your thoughts. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.